Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Next order of business will be the roll call.
David Pruitt.
Here.
Bart Shockley.
Here.
Tim Turney.
Here.
Ken Winkfield.
Here.
Tandy Pryor. Here.
We do have a quorum, and we will continue. Next order of business will be the minutes from the June 2nd, 2025 meeting. They've been distributed. Board members, take a motion to approve, adjust, correct.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve June 2nd, 2025 minutes as submitted.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and second. Any corrections, additions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. First item on the public hearing is Daniel and Elizabeth James have filed for a conditional use permit on a tract of land containing 58.89 acres on Leestown Road. Steve?
Yeah.
You're up.
So we had an application filed on July 9th, 2025. The applicant is Double Dan Horsemanship LLC, and the property owner is Dan and Elizabeth James, sitting right over here. You heard the property is located at 2150 East Leestown Road. You can see up on the aerial, that's the property up on the screen. And the property is currently zoned. This is a shot of the entrance looking to the west, and their property is there, right there at the gate. This is the zoning map that shows the property split zoned. It's zoned agriculture and conservation, has some floodplain. You can see it's kind of surrounded on three sides by the creek. And what the applicants are asking for is a conditional use permit to operate an agritourism use. And that agritourism use, a little more specific, is an event or wedding venue in the A1 zone. So even though the property zone split zoned, where they're going to put the building that would be the agritourism uses in the A1 portion of that property. And again, this is a zoomed out shot that again shows the property in a little more detail. There's a railroad track that runs through their property. Their driveway's very long as you come from Leestown Road all the way back through that property, and there's an actual railroad crossing on their farm that they pretty much use operationally and navigate there. Before we get to this, we'll go through some specifics here on the staff report, and I'll get to some exhibits. So that takes care of page 1 of the staff report. Page 2 of the staff report, we'll start to look at the zoning ordinance, specifically section 701, which is the A1 zone. You get to the bottom of page 2 that you see highlighted in yellow, agritourism use pursuant to KRS 247-801 are an allowable conditional use permit if this board approves it. Those type of CUPs, though, first have to go through our Agricultural Advisory Review Board, as you guys know. So that board had a ton of work to do. The applicant had to turn in quite a few things. That's why your packet's so thick. The Ag Board has reviewed their application requirements. There's a lot of items there, especially when you're building a new building. If you're not building a new building, it's a lighter application, but if you're building new structures, and the Ag Review Board has a lot of things that applicants' due diligence have to go through. So that's why your packet's so thick. We'll go through that in a minute. On page 3 of your staff report, the agritourism uses as defined by KRS 247-801 are outlined in our definitions. And again, it's a lot of things under the state law. These are basically farms which are trying to do other kind of uses, and it specifically allows event centers, wedding venues, as well as other kind of agritourism. But they're proposing the facility to be mostly events and weddings. Turn to page 5 of the staff report. It starts off with Article 407, where this board has the authority to attach conditions. And as you all know, the way those conditions kind of domino is they start with the Ag Review Board doing what they do, looking at the application, doing their site visit, working with the applicant on specific conditions, compatibility standards, and then conditions evolve that ultimately end up with a recommendation to you all. So the applicant puts forward then their CUP applications with the proposed conditions, and the Ag Review Board suggests certain conditions. In this case, they kind of mirrored together. There's been other times where maybe the Ag Review Board asks for things, but the applicant doesn't agree to them all. You guys sort of weigh in on those. And then you all still have the authority to add other conditions as you see fit. So, but page 5 is important because it leads off with the minutes from the Ag Review Board's July 9th meeting, and they had a site visit before that. And I think it's a summary in the middle of the page. It's really good. It kind of shows you what the applicant's proposing. It says they seek to construct a new 6,000 square foot climate-controlled multi-purpose event barn with capacity up to 200 guests on their working farm to host agritourism experiences. And you see then in those bullets, weddings, private celebrations, equine demonstration events, educational horsemanship demonstration clinics, farm tours, agritourism programs, and then you can kind of see some general information. Where we get into the details is on page 6 and 7 is where you see the Ag Review Board site visit to the property. We had a detailed site visit with the applicants there on June 30th. And they kind of went through and they looked at the property, looked where the building was going to go, talked through all these events, looked at their driveway and the access and all those kind of items. And then on July 9th, page 7, it outlines the actual Ag Review application process where they did recommend an approval with proposed conditions that you see are on the bottom of page 8, top of page 9. The Ag Review had 8 proposed conditions that they thought should the applicant should agree to, and the applicants did sort of incorporate those in to their request. And then we get to page 9. You see the applicant's proposed conditions at the bottom of page 9. And again, a little general description of what they're doing. Turning back to the screen, this is some elevations of the barn they're proposing to build. Barn-like structure will actually be their event venue, wedding venue on the property. This is the floor schematics, which aren't maybe as important to you all, the details on the main floor and the second floor balcony. This is a location map that generally shows they already have a show facility out there, a structure there that's under roof, the pavilion where they have events now that are all equine themed or related. They have several type of events out there on a regular basis that are ag exempt under an equine type facility. This shows where they basically building this new facility in between existing structures. There's a barn also to the south of that yellow box. So they have an existing barn, there'd be the event venue, and then there's their kind of covered pavilion area right in front of their kind of demonstration show ring facility. And their residence is there up there to the north. So this is a general overview of the property. These are some of the site shots that kind of show where the buildings are going to go. Nice and flat there on the north side of that barn. Their driveway right there. They currently, again, have tours and events there. They have tour buses that come into the property, can get turned around. They accommodate large crowds now on that property with their different equine-related events. And then I'll let them talk about these supplemental other type of events that they'd like to tie into their facility. With that, you turn to page 14 in the staff report, and again, there's no specific staff items concerned. The Ag Review Committee put their recommendation forward and did recommend approval of this application. The review and findings for CUPs are outlined on pages 14 and 15. If you guys get to the point of making a motion, and page 16 is a cookie cutter motion up or down. If you guys get to the point of making the decision, and our attorney can help you wordsmith the motion either way, whichever direction the Board of Adjustments goes. I don't have a whole lot else to add. I'll be glad to answer any questions. But I think as you saw in your packets, the applicants did a very detailed application, have a very detailed business plan that's in your packet. It's very interesting, and I hope you took the time to read it. There's a lot of interesting things that these folks do, and this operation that's being conducted here in Woodford County is very unique when it comes to equine-related activities. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions, but I think the applicant may want to kind of elaborate in more detail on what they do on their farm and how this facility will supplement what they do as far as related to the equine industry and agritourism for our county.
Board members, are there any questions for Steve?
No.
Hearing none, would the applicant care to speak to this?
Yeah, guys, well, yes.
State your name.
Dan.
Turn that on, please.
Push that button right there. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Try that again.
You're good.
Yeah, all right. G'day, I'm Dan James. This is my wife, Elizabeth. Obviously, a little further than East Kentucky with this accent, so I apologise if it's a bit difficult to understand. Elizabeth and I have been here now out at the farm coming up close to 10 years. Our business has always been in horses and will stay like that for a very long time. What we currently do is education in both horses and people. So, and that ranges from everything from the thoroughbred industry through to the equestrian disciplines, and then also with a large focus on horses for live show entertainment. So, such things that you might see in movie work. It's one of the elements that we bring to our business. And what we've been able to do in the past couple of years with already bringing people to get to experience not only obviously Kentucky, but the horses here that, you know, are such an important part of this culture, is for them to get to be able to experience it up close in person and be able to have a hands-on experience where they get to see the incredible things that these horses can do. What we'd like to do is to continue to grow that experience, is where this event centre really plays in. It would really help to facilitate people's experience when they come out to the farm in being able to just essentially be able to enjoy more of it. So we've been doing this in the equine industry for beyond the 10 years that we've been here at the farm, and we're very familiar with the way of handling events. Elizabeth and I both produce our own events at other different locations and that. So in terms of the experience of knowing what it's like for it to be not only a welcoming and easy logistically environment to be in, but then in addition to what it looks like when you're dealing with the public and other people coming in. One of the largest things that I'd say that to us that, you know, obviously with us living on the property and within, you know, earshot of this venue, how the business and that is conducted there, you know, the first people that it's going to would directly impact would be ourselves along with our young children. So those things we've sort of taken into great consideration, you know, before coming before you guys here this evening. Anything you want to add?
I think what you guys see in front of you is an evolution. So to be completely honest and transparent, as we were at the committee, we already do tours with horse country and we do events, and the one barn that people come through is the one barn on the property that doesn't have bathrooms. And so to do that, to date, we rent porta potties, which in Kentucky in the summer and in the winter is not exactly first rate on guest experiences. And so that's kind of one of the only drawbacks that we've had of what we currently do. So we started out with just looking at how do we build a bathroom block, and it has kind of revolved from there that it'd be nice to have an office there, for us to have an office to meet with people. And then, as we all know, with an outdoor venues, you guys can see our pavilion. It's a covered pavilion, but from the parking lot to get there, if it is Kentucky rain, is outside and also with meeting with people. And so we wanted to have something that was covered and also conditioned airspace so that we could do things year round and still have people come on the farm and use indoor plumbing. So that was the evolution of it. And full transparency, we have owned and operated the farm ourselves for 10 years. So in order to build a building of this nature, there will be a payment that comes with it. And so that's where it's evolved that we'd like to rent it out. Knowing us, probably once a month would be ideal to outside events, because we do live within about 50 to 100 feet from it. So we're not interested in doing this as a big full-scale thing. This is our home, but we would like to expand on what we're currently doing and let people utilize it on the farm. So that's kind of the evolution of what's in front of you guys.
Before you go, wait. Board members, any questions?
Will you be the only ones putting events on here? You won't be subbing those out to other people to use your space?
No, I think because we have the horses and people coming in, it just wouldn't feel very comfortable to have other people
Okay.
making calls like
So
that.
it's for
So
whatever you're producing and
yeah,
doing.
yeah, absolutely.
But you would bring in outside caterers or the?
We would have to. We don't have a food license, and so we put in that building like a catering kitchen. It's not a commercial kitchen. I don't want to get into food production, but just so that what we've found in doing events on the farm right now, we use Red State Barbecue, and it works, but it doesn't have like the sinks, the fridges, the things they need if it was ever a larger scale or a high catered event. So we do have a catering space there for people to use if they were to need that.
Well, I'm just curious who your ideal client is. Like, who do you sell to these events to? Just so I understand this.
It's a good
That's
question.
a really large, wide group of people, because we've got people like, if we take what we're just currently doing now and just seeing where the people are coming from. We've got a lot of local people that have come out to get to enjoy the nighttime shows, and there's a lot of those people, I would say almost 50%, that have either had something to do with horses currently or in the past, and then we have a lot of new people that are just looking for something to be able to get to experience horses and come out. So it's attracting people both in and out of state. We've also seen that we've had international people as they come to explore America, and then here in Kentucky to be present as well. So it's a very broad base of people that are coming out to
So
experience
it's
it.
not just big groups, it's individuals, like if I.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to understand, I was a little confused on that. So if I wanted to go and it was an open night for that, or you
Yep.
could have a big group, like,
So we partnered with Horse Country this year. This was the first time we partnered with them, and through that partnership, there are the tours that we do 1 to 2 a week. We just have them set there, and anyone can go on their website through them and book a tour on our farm.
Okay.
And then we do a night show, which is usually 2 Saturdays a month is kind of the max that we found that we can do, and that's just anyone can buy a ticket for those. Those are open to the general public, and like Dan said, we have had kind of a range of people. We were probably more surprised at how many people are local, even coming on the tours. We kind of thought it would be people coming into town looking for something to do, but a lot of times when you ask them at the beginning, they're local or they have someone in town and they're looking for something to do with them that's horse related. So it is a little bit of a mix.
okay.
I have a couple questions. You're going to build bathrooms.
Yes.
Great idea. And in your report, it says you're going to meet all the codes. Are we on septic? Are we on city?
Septic.
Yeah, septic, and we've had the health department come out and do the plunge tests, and that's so far already as well.
Okay, because my concern is I look at your property, you're surrounded on 3 sides by South Elkhorn Creek. Any kind of spillage, damage goes straight into there, which has always been a concern. There's a lot of people that use that recreationally
Yeah,
with a lot of, so that is a concern that I have.
Yeah.
We've had some other projects come through here where we were pretty strict on what they were doing. So you will meet the health department guidelines. So when you have 200 guests on the farm for the better part of the day,
Yeah.
what is that requirement? Because that's going to be a pretty big septic field.
So it is, actually, we've had that amount at events before. We rented porta potties and we used the bottom barn down there. Now, I'll be honest, I think it cuts down on people going to the bathroom because they have to walk all the way to the other end of the arena. But we have that barn on a septic and we have that pumped once a year, which it's not required except for 3 to 5 years, but we just over pump it just because, again, like no one wants to have a septic problem on the farm. So I will say that both in using the septic existing in the other barns for large events that we've had and also using the porta potties, we've never had a problem with over usage of that. So I can't see it straining a
So
separate septic
you'll build a
system.
new septic system
Yeah.
correct.
for that barn.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
so when you build a septic, they're gonna ask you, if I haven't done this in a long time, about how many people are
yeah.
gonna be using it.
We did answer all of those questions already directly to the health department when he came out to do the inspection.
Was that in here? Because I
Yeah.
couldn't find
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we had them, yeah.
I apologize, but
It came out, like, we were doing the visit with them, depending on which version of the report that you guys have, that they were coming the same week that they came, but they came before the last meeting. I think they came the same week as the site visit,
okay.
but yeah.
My other one is about the railroad tracks. You're gonna have 200 people out there, they're gonna have their vehicles. What kind of I know you probably don't have the little gates. What kind of issue is that gonna have?
Yeah.
With that many guests
Good
Yep.
question.
in a railroad that you don't control when those trains go by?
Yeah, for sure. So obviously there's the standard signs that are there already at the railway track. The biggest advantage that we have, because of the length of that driveway from where you enter the gates to the railway tracks, there's never a moment in which that we have a backup of people. That would be the first thing. And we've dealt with, obviously, over the years, not only just large number of cars coming in, but also horse trailers and trucks and that. So a couple of things, like one, obviously when our events are on, we have people helping to keep the flow of the traffic going, and there's no reason for them other than to have to stop to make sure that there's not a train coming, that there's any need to have to stop permanently there where somebody would get stuck over the top of the tracks. That would flow down, if you look at the parking areas, to where they can continue to flow into park. The other thing that we've taken into consideration for when we've already had large groups is to request that they utilise tour buses. So there'd be up to 40 or however many people that you have on a large tour bus, versus it being singular cars that are coming in and out to an
So if the
event.
train hits the bus, that's better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I will say that the train coming through, I think it's by law, they have to honk their horn at the two corner of
As
there.
somebody that lives there,
Yeah, I know.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So there is that already built in, and we contacted them back when we bought the farm in 2016 about putting, and they just said that that wasn't something
That wasn't
that
there.
we needed. So I mean, not to say that there's never something that could happen, but it has been 10 years of doing events and large people, and we haven't had that be a problem.
I used to live across the street,
Yeah, you know,
not too far across the street.
Okay.
That's been a long
all
time
hours
ago.
of the day or night.
Yeah.
The one other, and it's not an issue because I'm sure you've already addressed it, I about got run over pulling out of there this morning.
Yeah.
The traffic, they pop over that hill. Now, if they're going the correct speed limit, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
This FedEx truck was not. It was not, but that concerns me. Wedding venues, people driving, more than likely they're gonna go back towards Lexington. They may be going the other way. And I know you've contacted one of the AARC comments was to put contact the traffic and put some.
Signage.
I noticed the condition that they put, you kind of wasn't in yours, but it was a little bit different. So what is your plan, or do you have one, to mitigate some of that traffic
So the
issues, I should say?
So the advantage that we have for when we do events, and you guys wouldn't have seen the signs probably because when you were driving by, it wasn't when we were doing an active event, but because we own the roadfront property on both sides, all the way down that hill to where that other property begins, when we do events, we put signs all out there on both sides. So it's like, event coming, turn right, all of that kind of stuff, so people know. When people go out there and there's not an event, the nice thing about us living there is we can pull them out because we don't want to see them driving into our home when we're not having an event on.
Right.
So we can put up those signs, and we do that often to make sure that people know and to turn. And then the other thing that we do when we work with big groups is tell them the easiest turn in is if they go out on the freeway and come in and turn from the Midway going to Lexington side. And so the nice thing about doing the events ourselves instead of leasing is we know that enough to tell everyone when they come to the shows or events, this is the best way to get into it. And also these are the signs that you're going to be looking for, so you can start to slow down and prepare your stop, and the people are expecting it coming. But they're not out there unless we're doing something.
The other thing is that the gates are opened ahead of time. Like if we say that it's going to start at 6 p.m, we open the gates at 5:30, so there's not that situation where somebody drives in and now they're kind of stuck and going to try to back out. So, other than there being, local traffic that try to, back out there, that as you know.
For the people coming to the event, I think that's wonderful. The ones I'm worried about is really when your people are leaving, and it's the oncoming traffic, not worried about your event.
Yeah.
Because that coming from that direction, I actually made that drive 3 or 4 times this morning.
Yeah.
And it is hidden.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like the AARC's idea of if you get the road department to put a flashing yellow sign, maybe you only flash it when you're having an event. I don't know how they do that.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid somebody's going to come over there and there'll be an accident coming out of there. And that's kind of our job to make sure.
Sure.
So,
it's a tough exit.
Yeah.
We think it's tough, and then you go to the neighbour's one, and it's even
Well,
worse.
the one I came out of was really bad.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between having your private entrance,
Sure.
that's you, than having, this would be
Yeah.
although it's not a public road, it's pretty much a public entrance.
The other thing I'd say is too, like over the past 10 years of coming in and out with trucks and trailers, like you're right, like it is there's a spot there, but also we have had no incidents in the past 10 years with trucks and trailers pulling out of there on a regular basis, and not just our own personal ones, but also our clients that are moving in and out with horses.
Okay.
There was some discussion, ARC, and that's where that condition evolved from, is it's a state road, so they were asked to contact Robert Baker and see what signage the state would allow. We're not sure exactly what they would allow.
See, that's
them to
kind of
do.
where I was, that's not really always up to you. That's road, and this off, but ingress and egress out of there has been approved because they have a driveway with, that's marked. But that's to say, there's a difference between a residential and commercial when they start doing that. And I just wanted to be aware.
Yeah.
That was the thing, the AERC conditions, I believe they agreed to, they weren't incorporated because they submitted their CUP application kind of in the sequence. But I believe they were okay with all
Correct.
8 of their conditions.
Okay. I just did, when I was comparing them,
They're
Yeah.
a little different.
Okay.
But I think they're okay if you guys push them
Absolutely.
together.
Yeah, that's what I said,
Okay with
we
all.
can
Yeah.
Okay.
supersede theirs with AA or.
Plus whatever else you all.
whatever we want, okay.
Okay.
Okay, I don't want to monopolize it. Any other questions?
The one question I had also was the business plan is 25 weddings and 25 non-equine events.
Say that again.
The applicant currently offers farm tours, and your business plan is 25 weddings and 25 non-equine events. So that's every weekend almost for.
So we were trying, I think we put that in there because we went through it of like, we were counting those the same as non-equine ones. So I think they got double counted in there.
Okay.
Because we already do like
So it's
2
not like
shows a
every
month.
weekend, 'cause
We
that would
wouldn't
make
be able
every
to.
weekend in a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we do 2 shows a month on Saturdays that we would still need to do our things. And then we do 1 to 2 clinics a month, which usually are 3-day, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. And then we do the tours. So it would have to fit around what we're already doing for our part of it on there. And I think when I wrote it in there for the 25, it was counting all of them of the weddings, or if it's something other than a wedding, that it doesn't have to be a wedding, but if there was a retreat or a fundraiser or something like that wanted to come out.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That counts as an event as well. is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
absolutely, just as a non-equine one, yeah.
Okay, that helps me.
Sorry.
Any other questions? Well, I'm going to ask one more. I know you're growing, and you talk about having retreats, corporate outings. This application does not address it, but there is no on-site lodging other than you and your house. I just want to be clear that
Correct.
anything like that would have to come much later, I should say, but at a different hearing to get that kind of approval.
Yeah.
I just want to be sure that was not, well, we all understand it's not part
Yeah.
of this. Okay.
Correct.
All right. All right. Hearing,
I've got 2 questions. Amplified music, what are your all's thoughts on that?
Yeah, so first of all, the building itself is going to be entirely enclosed. So anything that in terms of like anything amplified is completely closed up
Within the building?
Within the building, yeah.
And then any lighting in this area, can we suggest or request that it be all down lighting
Yeah.
pointing toward the venue?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, on the lighting discussions that we've already had ourselves, anything exteriorly on the building is all downlight. Yeah.
Thank you.
all right. Anybody else? Well, thank you very much. And we're going to open it up now to, if anyone in the audience has questions or comments about this is you can have a seat. Unless you want to show us your nice pictures. We've already seen them.
Yeah.
Does anyone else in the audience care to comment? Okay. Hearing none. We will seek a motion. Well, we will close the hearing unless anybody's got anything else. Hearing is closed. Board members, we will seek a motion to approve or deny the conditional use, or if you want to talk.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit request for, an agritourism use located at 2150 East Leestown Road along with the applicant and the board agreed upon property conditions and also adding the downlight condition. I don't see where this event space will, I think it supports the existing agritourism, equine and agricultural operations of the farm, and it meets all the required approvals. I'll go, Jim.
Excellent. Yeah, and was there a condition about amplified music inside the building only? Was that a request?
I mean, I didn't see it necessary, but we could add that if we'd like.
Usually it says,
Outside.
well, yeah, usually the condition that we applies only to outside music.
Right.
Yeah.
And what
And they've
about
got it
the,
at 10:30.
Hang on a minute, because we're in motion, so we got to, no more, it's not discussion.
the health department guideline? Was that included in that?
That's it's in here. Okay. Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion has been made, second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there anybody opposed? No. Motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you. We're in Australia.
Queensland originally?
I got a bunch of clients down there.
Oh, yeah? On the east coast or west?
East, all in the east. Whidden, I'll talk later, we gotta finish this. All right, thank you. Next order of business is the Midway College filed a conditional use permit for a tract of land containing 90.37 acres, 17.6 Weisenberger Mill Road, and we have one recusal. Possible conflict of interest, so Bart's going to step out. Okay, Mr. Steve.
Yes, sir. So there's the arrow up on the screen, and we're looking at Midway University. They filed the application on July 14th for conditional use permit. We can look at this two different ways. We're amending an existing conditional use permit, or they're kind of revising the application. What's happened over time, as you all know, we'll come back to the slide in a second, but the university's up there. A lot of things happening. They're building a new library. But the zoning that we currently have on the university is very problematic for them. It's not typically what you would see a university have. We have R3 zoning to the west, which is really multifamily zoning that most of the campus is kind of in a zone that they've just been living with for years. It really doesn't fit how campuses operate or expand. And then to the east, we've got the city limits goes through their campus. So we have city on one side, literally goes through the tennis courts, as you can see. So we got city on one side, county on the other. We got a East Stevens address for part of the university, Weisenberger on the other part of the campus, and we have ag zoning out here. And over the years, what's happened is that they've had to get conditional use permits piecemeal as they grow the campus, and they're ready to do another minor expansion of the university. So what you all have seen is two CUPs in the last few years. In 2016, there was a CUP for the baseball field in the A1 track, and then there was another CUP in 23 to do the football field to the south of there. So you've actually got two CUPs that have been done over the years, and there were conditions made and promises made, I guess, at that point in time. But things evolve, and one of the major things that evolve is they're building a new library in the central part of the campus. There was a groundbreaking recently. It's a major kind of addition to the university, and it's right where those parking lots are that you kind of see to the west side of the urban service boundary. So since the library is going there, there's parking now being taken away from the need, and what they're asking for is to amend the CUP for the baseball CUP, because at that time they basically just came in, so we're building the baseball field, and what they want to do is put a parking lot to the east side of the baseball field to replace the parking that's being used for the library construction footprint. So we'll go back to the aerial here. You can see the baseball field on this. This is our 24 aerial, and you can see the football complete. Again, that was a separate CUP. The parking lot would go to just east of the baseball facility. This is looking down from the road up the hill. You basically can't see the football. The building that you see up there in the center of the aerial is the field house. I believe that's right, for the baseball. Athletic field house. The baseball field is actually to the east of that, to the right of that, over the hill, and that parking lot would be back over there. So again, nothing would be visible from the road. The football stadium is actually in the foreground there behind those trees. So again, these two facilities are really tucked up over the hill, with baseball being further back and football being closer. And again, the building that you're seeing is, you see the tennis courts and you see that 512 logo. That's the building you see at that shot out there on the county road. And then everything would be to the right up there on top of the hill. This is an actual layout that they submitted of where the parking lot would go in relationship to the baseball field. Again, there's a service drive that meanders through the campus there to the east, and you can see the football facility. And then this is a parking study that was done that shows kind of all their parking spaces, and part of which are being then displaced with the library construction, and then those parking spaces will be moved over there to the east.
Steve?
Yeah, go
One
ahead.
second. As I look at that picture right there, that parking goes all the way up to the road, which is, unless I'm looking at it, is that the football field?
So, no, so that is, at this point in time, they did, I'll let them speak. This was a 2019 parking study that they did, but the baseball would actually be between the tennis courts and the parking. So when you go backwards.
That's what I'm saying, because
Yeah.
the other picture didn't match that picture.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
Okay,
It doesn't.
okay,
A
that's,
lot has changed, and that's what.
I just wanted to be sure when I'm looking at
The
it.
road
that-
has changed, and they'll explain the
Yeah.
service roads changed. But yeah, so you can kind of see the location there is still, the road is different now. It meanders
Yeah.
a little bit different through this.
Yeah.
So this is their current kind of just conceptual exhibit. This was the exhibit you all saw in 2016 when they were working through the baseball facility. And this exhibit had some detailed language that there wouldn't be parking. So at that point in time, there was no plan to build any parking. So that's really what they're back here doing, is they really need to revise the 2016 condition that said no parking, so to allow them on this facility to expand the parking to the east if you all see fit. So with that, I'll just real quick go through the staff report. It's interesting on page 2, where these CUPs come from in the ag zone is conditional use permit B, schools for academic instruction. That's how schools are able to do CUPs in the ag zone or have related facilities related to schools, like you guys have done CUPs. Again, you did 2 different CUPs, one for baseball, one for football. Conditions, they have put several conditions forward in their application, even though they would be building parking. And just to give you an example, this parking exhibit here shows 264 spaces. They're actually committing in their conditions that this parking lot would be for approximately 200 spaces, I believe, is what they're proposing. And again, the plan here is to try to get something built before school opens, because the library is under construction. Well, the plan is that if you all were to approve this, they would do some kind of temporary gravel. We'd do something quick to accommodate the students when they get back to school, and put a timeline on final pavement, landscape, striping, all of that. I think their intention is maybe try to get it all done, maybe not the landscaping. But the library is under construction. Those parking lots are right now construction zones at this time, and not going to be available to the students when they come back here in a few weeks. Took a while to put the application together and get everything in front of you guys, and just missed the cutoff for the July meeting. That's why I got pushed back here to August. So, I don't have a whole lot in the staff report, very similar to the past CUP. The findings are similar. The representative from the university here can go into more details about how all these things sequence together. But again, had the condition not been made on the prior case, I mean, they literally, there's a thing here that says there wouldn't be any further parking in the box on the right when they did the baseball. It said no additional parking to be constructed. Again, back in 2016, they didn't know they were building a library in the center of the campus, or have donations, or have the need for the parking to shift to the east. Again, campuses grow, as you all know. We are working with the university and the city to maybe address a long-term fix on how we make the campus maybe in one zone, some kind of conversion to put them. They probably should be in an office zone, would be a perfect scenario. It's normally what campuses would be or schools would be in. But it's a challenge to be in R3 and ag, as you imagine, and then try to grow the campus incrementally with the zoning restrictions as they are, as well as the city limits, service, road names, etc. So maybe down the road we'll be able to put some things together to make the expansions easier in the future. But today they have to keep coming back to you guys piece by piece with these CUPs and amend them or consolidate them or whatever they need to do in the future. I'd be glad to answer any questions, but I believe the representative of the university can
Board
give you guys some
members,
better
any
details.
questions for Steve? Nope. Would the applicant care to speak to this issue?
Hi, I'm Leah Rice with Midway University, and this is Ellen Gregory with Midway University. As Steve said, we're about ready to lose parking. When he said we had a groundbreaking, we are actually about ready to start moving dirt probably next week. They're going to probably start installing the silt screens and everything just in time for everybody to get back. We were hoping to have that part done before the students got back, but it did get a delay as we were going through some value engineering through the project. But it's pretty straightforward. We're working with an engineering firm right now for the environmental portion to get all of our drainage calculations and everything to know where the basin will drain on it. And so we just got a little bit of that. I don't have the actual drainage calculations, but all that is in motion right now, and we're just hoping to get approval to be able to build this parking lot.
Board members, questions?
And that's the last part. If you all were to approve the CP, there's still a lot of due diligence to the planning commission, development plan, construction engineering, drainage, permits, all those things are still have to happen behind any CUP approvals.
Okay. No, I have a couple questions. Ingress, egress from this parking lot, where does it come from?
Right. What was called the delivery road that comes around there, that was all rerouted when we built the turf field and track.
Right.
There is where people will be coming in, because we will have to route traffic around every which way as part of the construction of the new library, because it's completely changing our traffic flow on main campus as well. They can come in from two directions. They'll be able to come in from our main entrance and go around all the way around campus to be able to get to this parking lot. Or if they were coming in through the delivery entrance, which we are not going to be encouraging during construction, because that's where construction vehicles will be coming in, they could come in that way. So there'll be two entrances, and they're already the existing entrances to campus.
Okay. Because when I was out there, I didn't go in the gates were down at the main entrance. So I went in the delivery entrance. You're talking 200 spots, only student parking?
It will only be for student parking.
Permit parking?
Sorry?
They have to have permits?
Yes.
Okay.
All of our students on campus actually get a gate tag to be able to open that gate on the main campus.
So, and I know during construction, you maybe not be able to do that, but coming into delivery road is what I'll call it right now,
Yeah.
because that was just open. So during school, is that going to be key access only?
It won't be key access only, but it will be a call box on it, so it will be closed. We do try to keep that closed. Now, I said with construction, it's going to be a little bit more involved, but we more than likely will be having security patrolling out there to keep people from trying to sneak in that way.
Okay. And when construction is done, then it'll just be non-accessible without buzzing through?
Correct. Yeah, when construction is done, to be able to park in that, you'll have to come in through the main gate. We will then have the delivery entrance completely closed up again like we normally would.
Okay. Any other questions? I got a couple more then. Lighting?
Yes, we don't have it right now, but we did put in there as a condition of that to be able to do standard parking lot lighting. Everything would be angled downward, the same as we've done with the other lighting that's recently been installed.
And I don't know what terminology, where it's tinted, so it's not bright,
I think that the current code actually requires that now, to not be bright LEDs.
Is that
Yeah,
what
it's a
called,
shield, it's a shielded, yeah.
Okay.
We were gonna go with the current code on that to be able to, it's a lower light than what we even have on main campus at this point.
So when we did it the last time, they talked about the size of the light poles and all that, the candle watt. Are you following that as well, or?
Well, that was for the baseball field, and we have not installed any lighting there, nor do we have plans right now to install any lighting.
Oh, that was for that wasn't for, okay.
Yeah, that was for
Yeah,
future lights for the baseball field.
Okay, no, you put them on the football field instead.
Yeah. We have more sports that use that field, I was saying. Soccer uses it, football uses it, track and field's using it. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else with questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would anyone in the audience care to speak to this issue? Okay, we will close this hearing, and we will seek a motion to approve or deny this conditional use.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion to approve the amended conditional use permit for a parking lot located at 176 Weisenberger Mill Road, along with the applicants and board's agreed upon property conditions. The testimony presented in this public hearing has shown that the use does meet the requirements of the zoning ordinance.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Two of them.
Either one.
All right. Well, motion's been made and it's been seconded. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would just ask Ms. Pryor if she might consider adopting some of these specific items of note that are on page 5 of the staff report, particularly the one that says there will not be any traffic pattern changes. I think that's a good justification for no disruption from this permit being granted.
Yes, let's add those in. And the lighting, too, is that in that one?
They're good, as long as they're meeting the code, yes.
Okay, meet the code. Okay.
The other thing is that they still have to meet, and Steve, it's probably in there already, all applicable city, county,
Yep, drainage,
drainage, all those
landscape,
kind of,
yep.
yeah. Just as long
ADA
as they're
stuff,
doing it.
all those things are gonna be required.
Okay.
Again, we may do a temporary use permit and do gravel short term if just to get students back, but I think the goal is to get some pavement down. They'll have to meet all our parking requirements in the zoning ordinance in Article 6 and 11 landscaping.
Steve, I've got a question on the temporary parking lot. Will it have a time frame that they have to complete the permanent parking?
Yeah, so
when
right now we're opening up, if we get tight in this window, because we still gotta get through the planning commission, we could do a temporary use permit for gravel, but I think their intention is not even do the gravel. If they get the approval, you guys are gonna get it.
Okay.
They're gonna get it paved as
Yeah,
quickly as
let's,
possible.
no more discussion.
Yeah.
We've closed the hearing.
Yeah.
So let's keep, yeah. You okay?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm always good.
I know. So motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Come on back. I didn't want to yell real loud at you. All right. I guess we got one more. So, application number 3. Lawrence Doyle has filed for a variance application of tract land being .3 acres located in 309 West Higgins Street. Steve?
Yep, so this is a variance request on West Higgins. Again, we're in Midway. The aerial's up on the screen, and it's interesting to note, you see the 309 and 305. This is a PVA parcel map, and when these properties were surveyed, they don't exactly look like that, and that's one of the challenges the applicant had here. What the applicant's doing is doing a redevelopment project here, 305 and 309. The houses are not in the greatest shape, and basically the plan is to build a new structure. We've done some variances on this street. I don't know if I did a wider shot here. If you remember, we had some houses over here. I have to remember, Kim, if that was 301 or the 259 address, but we had a property we had multiple houses on, if you remember. They were trying to replat it. We had to do some variances because the lots are very narrow to make these setbacks work for some new construction. Again, you can see the parcel map here. this property owner owns 305 and 309, and the goal is to, again, get some new homes on this road. The challenges the applicant has, again, once the survey was done, this is what the lot looks like. So again, it's kind of hard to put in perspective, but the deed just, and what the PVA showed is that that property actually is in line more with 305, and it's shorter, and so, as well as the railroad track and the road terminating. So when the survey was done, these lots of record are shaped like this, which are even tighter. So there's a need to build a new home on 309. It's virtually impossible to meet all the setbacks because the lot is a small little lot there at the end of the road. The house that's going to be at 305 works. We'll work on that because you can see the way the lots are angled. But again, it's this lot that I guess when it was purchased thought it was a lot bigger. Turns out some of that property is kind of no man's land, either belongs to one of the adjacent pieces, but this lot actually is platted like this. So again, the property shown is 0.3 acres. Again, it's zoned R2, so these are technically duplex lots. You can do single family as long as you can meet the setback, even though they don't meet the minimum lot size. So these are non-conforming R2 lots. Again, if you can make the setbacks flow, they'll work. The description is very interesting on page 1. They're asking for a 9-foot front yard variance from the 25-foot requirement. You can see it right here on this exhibit. The way the lot's angled, it's the left corner of the house that needs the variance, really, on the front because of the angle of the line. So, but they're going to a 16-foot proposed building setback line on the front for that corner. And at the same time, they need to vary the rear setback. The goal was to really have these two houses close to each other, but there's just no way with the angle of the lots, the way the railroad track lies. So they're staggering, the plan is to stagger the houses a little bit, but this new house needs a variance on the front and the rear. The sides will work just fine. They just need to be able to scoot it back a little bit to make the setbacks work for the construction. The zoning ordinance then lays that out on page 2. You can see the front yard setback's 25, the rear yard's 35. Again, the R2 in a perfect world, a brand new R2 lot would be 8,000 square foot. These lots aren't that size, but the zoning ordinance says on a non-conforming lot, even if it doesn't meet the minimum lot size, as long as you can meet the setbacks or get a variance for the setbacks, you can build a home on a non-conforming lot. And again, the exhibit's on page 4, zoomed in shot that you guys can see. And again, one of the other challenges in the community here is where the road terminates on West Higgins. West Higgins Street, you can see on the aerial here, comes up here on the right-hand corner, and the right-of-way kind of fades into the railroad right-of-way at a point. There's always been existing driveway access to these two lots, but where the city maintenance ends and where the railroad right-of-way and then easement begins, I think you can see some of that verbiage laid out on the plat that the surveyor kind of put some of that in record there. So again, that's the applicants here with their attorney, and one of the challenges was to work with the railroad to make sure they can continue to use that easement that goes from West Higgins and actually serves 309. 305 is closer to the termination of the city street where the maintenance ends. But historically, the road has always gone all the way back to 309, or you would think it goes back there, but you're looking at it right there. That goes from city street to private easement to railroad right-of-way with an easement on top of it. And that's how you get back to you barely see the house. You're looking at 305, 309's right around there on the corner on that shot. And they can tell you more about what they're wanting to do with these houses, build new structures back there just to give some small single-family detached living.
I got a question. That's not 305 in that picture. It's the last house before you get to 23s.
I believe, is that 305 right there?
305 is behind it.
Is right behind it.
Right.
Yeah. And then
That's what I thought. Because there's two behind that.
Yeah, 2.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, there was, my fault, yeah. 305, when I said 305 is
Photo 2 from that house.
Right.
You see a little bit of the roof line there.
Yes.
And it's behind is 309,
Yeah.
But where the city street stops, a little unclear. We'll let the attorney tell you what he had to research on that. Our variance requirements start on page 5. Very interesting. Article 4, section 406.3 talks about variances and when you all hear them. And it talks about what justifies the variance. And number 1 is very interesting because it talks about when you have exceptional narrow lots, shallowness, weird shapes, clearly those are things justify variances. And it talks about an or, but there's also an and that really comes into this one, which is also hardships on, if variance wasn't granted, once the survey was done and they realized the lot was a lot smaller than what the original parcel card showed. Again, there's not a whole lot you could do with this lot without necessitating some type of variance on a lot this size. And the house that's there actually doesn't meet any of the setbacks if you were even to keep that house, or it's just there, as you all know. So again, that's all I have. The findings are on page 6 and 7. The state law requirements and grant variance, and the motion one way or the other is located on page 8. And again, the applicant's here, as well as his attorney, can tell you a little bit of the history about what the surveyor had to do to kind of figure out who owns what portions of these lots. Again, there's some areas out here that I believe were undetermined on which property they go to.
Okay. Questions for Steve, for the board members? None. Would the applicant care to speak to this? No, but his attorney will.
Good evening. I am Steele Rouse on behalf of the applicant Lawrence Doyle. And as Steve said, this is fairly unique there at the end of West Higgins Street. And as the survey revealed something fairly different than what we were all expecting, that shows a lot of uncertainty, certainly south of the lot here. When we talked with Steve and the applicant, the question was where to ask for the variance. And we at one point thought about pushing the proposed structure to the far south extremity, asking for a setback of much less, 0 feet. And I think the final application settled in a point of kind of trying to split that difference to centrally locate the structure. One big challenge is, as you can see on the northern portion of this tract, is the railroad right-of-way. And the existing structure I think the porch is actually located within the railroad right-of-way. So that was a major safety concern, as you can imagine, that any new structure built in the existing footprint would still be in that right-of-way, and that certainly could not happen. So placing this beyond the railroad right-of-way while trying to preserve backyard to allow the neighbors to not have a structure in their backyard was really paramount in this. This is a unique lot, certainly, and as Steve mentioned, as Higgins Street ends, Mr. Endicott in his survey notes in item 4 that it is assumed that West Higgins Street, as paved, extends to serve number 305 and 309. Legally, I could describe a prescriptive easement and an easement by necessity, that there has to be some means of ingress and egress into this, and Higgins would certainly be whether it is properly maintained by the city or not, that would be the historical prescriptive easement that would exist. But this was, I think, really the hope to one, avoid the railroad right-of-way being in where the structure is, and 2, trying to allow as much backyard that can be sought. So that was really I think the reason for the unique setback request.
Okay. Questions? All right. Well, thank you very much. Would anyone else care to speak to this? You gotta walk up to the microphone and say your name.
My name is Tom Yunt. I own to the right of 309.
Farther.
If you're facing to the right, I own 266 West Stevens, and my lot goes all the way to the railroad tracks.
Okay.
And really, Higgins Street, that's a double lot. Like I say, it's got a house on it, and then it's got a section down there at the bottom of it. That Higgins Street's supposed to, it's supposed to go into it. 309 or whatever, my property line is within a foot of his side porch. Like I say, according to my survey, which was done by Malcolm Endicott about 30-some years ago. And like I said, I just want to make sure he cleans the lot off. I mean, single family house would be fine. he's got two doggone outbuildings beside that, behind that house, the 309, and they're falling over on my property. So I'm just worried about getting, if he cleans it all off or puts a single house there, that's fine.
Okay.
That's all.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, we still got time. Go on.
I'm Robert Richardson. I owned 305, and Lawrence Doyle, a friend of mine, owns the 309. Our intentions have always been to clean that mess up. We acquired it back, when did we first, tell me it was?
I think it's been about a year and a half.
About a year and a half, and it took us a long time to get the approval through the railroad and what we had to do with the railroad. And it was a very tricky thing for Malcolm to survey. So it's not that we neglected it, it's just, we're asking to move forward. Yes, there is going to be 2 single-family homes. And with one on
305, one on 309.
One on 309.
I don't know if there's enough room for 309.
So that's where we were asking for the variance to set the house back. The way it was surveyed, we can make the side lot requirements from the side of your property to ours. And we even negotiated we even kind of looked at a different house plan to make it fit, so we didn't have to ask for as much on the side lots. So we've done a lot of research on putting the best thing there that would fit on the lot without asking for too much.
And I think, just to answer your, I'm sure, certain question, is there might be we need to compare surveys, I think, because
Well, Malcolm did both of them.
Right.
I've got the original.
Right, and I think as he just mentioned here, we're not requesting any variance on the side yard setbacks. This lot as surveyed shows that there's ample space to meet the 8-foot side yard requirements that would, again, not encroach at all on your all side yard, but I'll be happy to get together and look at easements together, or look at surveys together.
Yeah.
That makes it all very clear. I would say ask if anyone else needs to speak, but it looks like everybody has. So, any questions for anybody? Hearing none, we will close this hearing.
Do you plan on living in this new structure?
No.
Okay.
Unless my daughter tells me that she's moving to Midway, then she might.
So you're building it to resell?
Resell, rental,
Okay. Okay.
We
You're
really
addressing-
haven't thought about
Okay.
that as much, whether, we sell them or rental.
Okay.
All right, we ready? We will close this hearing, and we will seek a motion to approve or deny the variance.
And Mr. Chair, if the board is inclined to move to approve, I would direct your attention to page 10 of the staff report. That's the form application, and under proposed site conditions, Mr. Rouse has listed a paragraph that pretty much goes through what Steve was talking about earlier, which is extraordinary conditions on the property, the hardship that will be faced if there's no relief from the setbacks. So I think the proposed site conditions block would be a good justification for a motion for approval if you're so inclined.
It's 2 pages behind the motion.
I was going to say, I couldn't find
It's the
10.
second page of their application.
Yep.
Okay.
Page 10 of the PDF, but yeah.
Okay.
Page 2.
All right. We are still waiting to seek a motion to approve or deny dimensional variance.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the request for a 9-foot front yard setbacks variance and 15-foot rear yard setback variance on the property located at 309 West Higgins Street. Testimony as presented presented in this public hearing that has shown that the granting of the variance meets the criteria set forth in Article 4, Section 406 of the zoning ordinance and KRS 100.0 6.243. We're going to also add the proposed site conditions included in the application. And the granting of this, the granting of this variance will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, and will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity. Will not cause hazard or nuisance to the public, and will not allow for unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning ordinance.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion has been made and second. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Motion has been made and second. Any further discussion? Comments? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all very much. We are now going to go into a closed session. I have to ask everyone to step out, and you can turn off. is there a motion to come out of executive session?
I'll motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. We need one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.